Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I know this one guy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Oh, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Oh, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. 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 Oh, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hare, Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hare, Gaura 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 Hare, Gaura 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 Hare, Gaura Gaura Hare, Gaura 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 Hare, Jaya Nityananda Ram, 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 Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Balaram 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 Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaura Hare Bol, Nitai Gaura Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaura Hare Bol, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Kishore Kishore, Kishore Kishore, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Sri Balaram Jayanti ki Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON 50 की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की their most beautiful lordship Shri Shri Kishore Kishori ki Parama Karuna their most merciful lordship Sri Jagannath Sri Baladev Srimati Subhadra Maharani ki Parama Karuna Sri Sri Gauranitai ki Sri Balaram Jayanti ki Sri Balaram Jayanti Mahamahotsava ki Sri Balaram ki Sri Krishna Balaram ki Dai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्याकाशीपूर्वक्षः शिलातंकान खालाए इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहो बाहिर नरसिंहा हृदय नरसिंहो नरसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलित हिरण्यकशिपो तनु भृंगा केशवधृता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तब कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार जलित हिरण्यकशिपो तनु भृंगा केशवधृता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय केशवधृता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव। जय भक्त प्रहलाद, जय भक्त प्रहलाद, भक्त प्रहलाद, जय भक्त प्रहलाद, जय भक्त भक्त प्रहलाद, भक्त प्रहलाद, जय भक्त प्रहलाद। जय किशोर किशोरी, जय किशोर किशोरी, किशोर किशोरी, जय किशोर किशोरी, किशोर किशोरी, जय किशोर किशोरी, किशोर किशोरी, जय किशोर किशोरी। जय जगन्नाथ, जय जगन्नाथ, जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा, जय जगन्नाथ, जय जगन्नाथ, जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा। जय गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय, गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय, गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव, 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 जय जय गुरुदेव, 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 गुरुदेव। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। नरसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल।
श्री बलराम जयंती महामहोत्सव की जय। On behalf of our temple leader, His Grace Nityananda Prana Prabhu, and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we'd like to welcome you all to this most auspicious day of Sri Krishna Balaram Appearance Day. We are very honored and happy and fortunate to have the association of two wonderful leaders of our Krishna conscious movement, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj and His Holiness Candramauli Swami. So let us welcome them with a big, big Haribol. Haribol! 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 His Holiness Radhanath Swami, we don't have to say much to introduce him. He is one of the most inspiring spiritual leaders in our movement. He is responsible for so many inspirations, especially throughout India, Europe, and America. He is a very acclaimed author of this journey home, the autobiography of Maharaj. So, an amazing storyteller. So we're very, very happy to have him with us. And His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj is a very, very dear spiritual leader here in our community in Chicago. He has for many years been part of our community, and we're very, very happy to have him here. He preaches throughout India, Europe, and America, and We're very honored to have both of them here sharing with us this most auspicious day. Thank you so much. Thank you, Radhanath Maharaj. Thank you, Candramauli Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
I'm just the introductory program. So we'll begin by Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivara Gopi Janavallabha Girivar Surnandana Bhaja Janhanja Yasurnandana Bhaja Janhanja Jamuna Thira Havan Jamuna Tira Havane Jamu Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivara Gopi Balaram Jai Gopinana Vallabha Girivara Radha Surandana Gajajanandana Yasorandana Gajajanandana Jamuna Tira Havana Harijana Jamuna Tira Havana Harijana Jaya Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Nitai Gaur. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. So, I'd just like to welcome all the devotees and guests to a very special and very holy day, the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Balaramji. For those of you who are not familiar, Lord Balaram has manifested himself in his deity form on the altar. There's Jagannath on the far right altar, and on the very far left of the right altar is the white manifestation of Krishna. That is Lord Balaram and their younger sister Subhadra Devi in the middle. Om Agyan Timirandasya Ginajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kedammayam Tadati Swapadantika Bande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Turubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmaham srajamyaham paritranayam sadunam vinasanaya chaduskritam dharma samstarpanaptaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Lord Shri Krishna speaks this verse, two verses actually, about his mission in the material world. Some people say that the Lord doesn't come to this material world, or why would the Lord come to the material world? What business does he have here? But the Lord makes that clear in his own words, that he comes, and in this verse he illustrates his reasons for coming. And what is that? He comes to when he is in what you might say concerned of the religious standard of society, how people are following religious principles. And when it takes a significant drop, when people become irreligious, atheistic, or just very much, what we say, neglecting their spiritual responsibilities, that is called irreligion. And then the Lord comes in order to reestablish real religious principles. And at the same time, he removes from the world those elements that are causing irreligion. We use the word demons, those who are against God. And so, but then, there's a special feature why he comes, and that is he comes in order to inspire, to give his association, and to increase the love of his devotees towards him. And that is actually the essential principle of his appearance. So from time to time, the Lord comes to enact his mission. So 5,000 years ago, Lord Shri Krishna appeared on this earth in order to do these three things, to, what we say, upgrade religion, remove irreligion, and give pleasure to his devotees by performing the same activities he performs in the spiritual world. He comes to this material world to do the same thing. And in that, he attracts the hearts and minds to him. And that way, spiritual, what we say, energy reaches again a higher and higher level. So this is the Lord's mercy. He's very merciful. He shows us mercy in this way by coming to inspire his devotees. But when he comes also with his entourage. And many of these personalities who appear with him assist him in his pastimes in this world in order to remove demons and at the same time to give pleasure to the Lord. So it's mentioned that the Lord is one. God is one. Sometimes people say God is many, but there are many forms of that one God who manifest themselves at different times. Because God is unlimited, he can expand himself in many forms of himself and still remain that one personality. So this is the nature of the Supreme Lord. He's not limited. Now in his expansions, his most immediate expansion is Sri Balaram. And he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is an expansion of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So because God is absolute, his expansion as the Lord Balaram is also of his same nature. It sounds confusing? I hope not. I'll try to simplify it a little bit. In other words, the Lord expands himself into manifestations of himself in order to enjoy various activities like that. Actually, the actual absolute truth of the existence is we are an expansion of God also. We are called Jiva. We are a spiritual particle of his nature, and we are also meant to connect with him and give him pleasure. That is actually our success in life, to give pleasure to God through various activities of devotion. So, but in his immediate expansions of the nature of his own self, these are called his, what we say, pastime expansions. And one of them is Lord Balaram. Balaram is none different than Krishna himself, but at the same time different. What is the difference? The difference is in color. If we see Lord Krishna actually, he is actually the color of a beautiful cloud that is called a monsoon cloud. His color is blackish. Just like when you see the sky is blue. But when you see a black cloud in front of the blue sky, the blue tinge somehow affects the black cloud and gives us a bluish blackish color. Is that the color of God? It's the closest thing we have in this material world. Because God's color cannot be described or experienced in this world. This world is limited and simply is a reflection of the reality. So in that analogy, we get a little bit of an understanding of the nature of God. He is like, his color is a blackish blue rain cloud. And when he expands himself into himself as Lord Balaram, who is non-different, he comes in a whitish color. And his whitish colors is compared to a spring cloud. Sometimes you look up into the sky and you see these beautiful billowing white clouds. And they're very attractive. And you just think, oh, the sky looks so beautiful with these white clouds. And this, to use again the analogy of something in this world, just to understand something that is beyond this world, we give this analogy. He's like a whitish spring cloud. Or another analogy is like a beautiful snow mountain. You see a mountain covered with ice and snow. It looks very attractive. It attracts the mind to something very beautiful. So that is the color of Lord Balaram. So the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is this element. But there's a functional difference also. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And Lord Balaram is non-different to him in position. But he plays a different role. What is that role? When he comes to this material world to assist the Lord, he does it just to give pleasure to the Lord. He's an expansion of the Lord to give pleasure to the Lord, to assist the Lord in his various activities. So we worship Lord Balaram as a personality who is, what we say, in our life, a person who represents that element of service to the Lord. Although he's the Lord himself, he serves the Lord in order to give pleasure to the Lord. So the element of bhakti is very fully manifested in Krishna in the form of Sri Balaram. So in our own practice of devotional service, we pray. Prayer is very powerful. When you sincerely make a prayer to the Lord, sincerely, when we actually pray to the Lord, you can expect things to happen. Just like sometimes I've seen devotees, they make prayer, "My dear Lord, I want to become your devotee. I want to give up all my attachments to material life. Please help me do that." And all of a sudden, they're in anxiety. "Well, my dear Lord, not so fast, you know." I really want to be your Lord devotee, but you know, there's a few programs I have going that I'm not ready to give up yet. But you see, there's a contradiction there. Contradiction is, as we make progress in spiritual life, the Lord fills our heart with attraction for him, and things in our life change accordingly. And we start to see things different. And then our happiness is found in our relationship with God. So Balaram does that. So we pray to Lord Balaram, "My dear Lord Balaram, the Supreme Personality of God, please give me your mercy in the form of devotion to Krishna. Please give me the strength." Balaram's name is Bala and Rama. We can divide it into two aspects of itself. Bala means strength, but not the physical strength. Although Lord Balaram, when he did come, he exhibited great physical feats of strength in destroying a religion. But he gives that strength of devotion to Krishna. So our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would say, if you want to make progress in spiritual life, you pray to Lord Balaram to give you that spiritual strength, like that. And when that prayer is sincere, then we get that mercy that comes by way of that sincere prayer. Things change. And so we pray to Balaram. He gives spiritual strength. He is also called Rama. His name is Rama, which means that he gives spiritual pleasure also. Nobody takes up spiritual life to be miserable, right? We take up spiritual life to get out of misery, right? It's not like spiritual life is just a bunch of rules and regulations and restrictions, and God has made things hard for you and you can't do what you want or can't do. No, spiritual life is actually awakening our natural happiness. And Balaram is the manifestation of that mood. He gives transcendental happiness. But he manifests that happiness in his, what we say, pure devotees, who come on his behalf and speak eternal religious principles which teach us how to become happy in devotional life, like that. So that nature of Lord Balaram is that transcendental knowledge manifested in his pure devotees makes us happy. Spiritual life is the process of happiness. It's not about being miserable or simply taking on difficulties. Chant the holy names of the Lord. When we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We chant Hare Rama. Rama means one who gives transcendental or spiritual pleasure. That pleasure that is not dependent on anything outside of itself. It is self-sufficient. When we chant the holy names of the Lord, and which includes Hari Rama, which is a glorification of Lord Balarama, then we actually feel transcendental happiness. That happiness that is of our own nature. That happiness, what we're looking for, is found there in the mercy. So when the Lord comes on his special appearance days, he gives special mercy. Today's this very special day. Just like sometimes you go to the store and they have a 2-for-1 sale. You buy one item and you get two. Maybe you pay a penny more or something like that. So that doesn't happen every day. On special occasions. So today is a special occasion. We can get the mercy of the Lord by praying for his mercy and glorifying him. The Lord, in our relationship with the Lord, is in the mood of glorification of the Lord. What is that glorification? Because he's the greatest. He's the source of everything. Everything we're looking for can be found in the Lord. And when we glorify the Lord, by chanting his name, by hearing about his activities, or just by coming to the temple and seeing his beautiful form and offering prayers to that, that awakens within us transcendental happiness. We look for happiness in this material world through various arrangements, by getting a good position or connecting with important people or just somehow or other trying to connect with some object of sense gratification that the senses are attracted for. But we find, because of the nature of this world, everything is here today and gone tomorrow. Gives a little temporary pleasure, and then it's gone. And then it leaves us looking for the same thing again more and more. That's the nature of this world. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yehi samsparsa ja boga, dukkha yona ya evate, avantavanta kunteya nateshu ramate buddha. That sense gratification doesn't give happiness. It actually leads to a kind of a suffering, which causes us to long for that same thing again more and more. But in a spiritual life, as soon as you touch the element of spirituality, by connecting with the mercy of the Lord, then that happiness is the seed planted and it grows naturally, because that's our nature. We're not these bodies. We're actually spiritual beings, and we have an eternal loving relationship with God. And God wants to remind us of that relationship because he wants to make us happy. So he comes in his different forms to help us awaken that loving relationship by performing his various activities. When Balaram was here, and he was assisting Lord Krishna in his pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham, the Lord would perform various pastimes as an ordinary human being. We hear he takes birth, but he does that just to manifest his transcendental nature. He's not ordinary, but he appears, what we say, similar, but not exactly similar. He has a mother, he has a father, he has activities that seemingly look quite ordinary. But he simply does that to perform his own pastimes with his loving devotees in this material world. He brings his loving devotees with him. So when Krishna was in Vrindavan and Lord Balaram were there, they were inseparable. And they would like to play, just like young boys play. They would play with each other different games. And they would also love to eat. And one of the things they would like to eat was fruit. We were talking about this morning. How fruit is so nice, right? It's sweet, it's tasty, it's nourishing, and you can eat a lot of it, and you don't get full. Fruit's nice, right? Krishna provided so many varieties of nice, sweet fruit. So wonderful. So the cowherd boys with Krishna, they loved to eat fruit. But there was a problem. What was that problem? there was this orchard of very nice fruits in one area called Talavan Forest. And it was guarded by this powerful demon whose name was Dhenukasura. Now this demon was in the form of an ass. Demons had the power to change their forms in different ways. So he was an ass, and he was guarding this orchard, which was owned by a bigger demon called King Kamsa. And he wouldn't allow anybody in, and he had access to all the fruit. So the cowherd boys came to Krishna and said, "Hey Krishna, you know, there's some really nice fruits, and we're really hungry. So please help us get these fruits. But there's a problem. There's this demon guarding." So Krishna wants to satisfy his friends, so him and Balaram went to the orchard. So they came, and Balaram immediately started shaking the tree and eating some of the fruits. So while he was eating the fruits, Dhenukasura came. And Dhenukasura became angry at Lord Balaram. So with all his energy, and at top speed, he came running at Balaram and kicked Balaram in the chest with all his might. For Balaram, he felt like there was a little breeze that came. He was too busy eating the fruit to even worry about this. You know. But then Dhenuk decided to do it again. So again, he came and he kicked Balaram. This time Balaram, you know, sometimes when you're eating, you don't like to be disturbed, you know. People come around and disturb you for some reason. So he was thinking, he's disturbing my enjoying these fruits. So Balaram picked him up and went, twirled him around at top speed and threw him into a tree with all his might. And by the time he hit the tree, he was no longer alive. And then Balaram and all the cowherd boys were enjoying the fruits. Now, the acharyas, or the great spiritual masters, explain, what is this demon? What is his relationship to us? And what is Balaram's relationship to us in relationship to this demon? This demon represents, because he's in the form of an ass, what does an ass do? Carries big loads and gets, what does he get in return? A little grass. He works very hard. Sometimes you see, especially, you don't see it so much in the Western countries, but if you see in India, you see these asses loaded on with so much clothes or even big loads, and you can't even see the ass. He's so much burdened down, and he's walking along. He is the personification of stupidity. He'll work and get nothing out of it. A little grass, like that. So Dhenukasura, in the form of an ass, represents that mentality that simply wants to work hard simply to maintain one's body. And Balaram, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, teaches us that he can destroy this, what we say, faulty mentality by the power of his presence in our life. And what is that? There's no need to work hard simply to maintain the body. All we have to do is serve the Lord in devotion, and Krishna takes care. Krishna takes care of his devotees very nicely. So we may, of course, do something, but to work hard to maintain this body, you can't maintain it. In due course of time, things go down. As much you try to maintain it, the harder it is to maintain. So we want to maintain our relationship with the Supreme Lord who maintains everything. Bhoktaram, Yagya, Tapasam, Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He's the maintainer, he's the enjoyer. He provides for everyone. If we simply engage in the service of the Lord and glorify the Lord, he takes care of all of us nicely. No need to do excess struggles simply to maintain this body. So Balaram, representing the spiritual master, teaches us through killing this one demon that one doesn't have to simply work hard simply to maintain this body. And that's the mercy of Lord Balaram. So we pray to Balaram, we glorify Balaram, and we understand that Balaram in our life can give us the pathway to pure devotional service. Although he is God, he comes as a representative of God and empowers the knowledge of devotion to him simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, associating with the Lord, and coming and glorifying the Lord. It doesn't take much. The Lord says he's pleased with just a little bit of glorification. We have to glorify the Lord because that is our relationship with God. Just like in the family, you have to serve the members of the family in order for the family to function as a unit, a successful unit. So in the same way, our relationship with the Lord is about serving the Lord. It's about glorifying the Lord, like that. So Lord Balaram reminds us of the glories of devotional service to him. And he's always assisting Lord Krishna in his pastimes wherever he comes in this world. When he comes as Lord Ramachandra, which is an incarnation of Krishna, he comes as his brother Lakshman to assist him in his pastimes in Ayodhya Dham. When he comes again 530 years ago as Lord Chaitanya, he comes as Lord Nityananda. That same Balaram is non-different than Lakshman and Lord Nityananda. So we worship that Balaram as the brother of Lord Krishna who assists his Lord Krishna in his pastimes and empowers devotional service in the hearts of his pure devotees who give us the path of bhakti, like that. So this is Lord Balaram. So he is very kind and very merciful. And throughout the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, there's beautiful, beautiful prayers and glorification of Balaram. To recite prayers means to open your heart to the Lord. These prayers are designed in such a way that they open up our bhakti. They're made by the great souls, they're made by the Lord himself, just to inspire love for himself. And as our love awakens for the Lord, our happiness awakens, and then we find everything we're looking for. Everything you're looking for can be found in God, because God is the source of everything. So I'll stop here, because His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj has many, many wonderful realizations and deep understandings of Lord Balaram. I've listened to Maharaj speak on Lord Balaram's appearance day for hours and hours. So we're all blessed by his association. So please welcome His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Thank you very much.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Shatharine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patithanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am very happy and very honored and very grateful to be with all of you today in the presence of Shri Kishore Kishori, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj, and each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Srila Prabhupada would often tell us the significance of Sri Balaram's name. We have heard from Candramauli Swami Maharaj about the tattva, or truths, of who Balaram is. He's a manifestation eternally, the first expansion of the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. The name Balaram, Bala means strength. Rama means one who gives pleasure. Balaram gives us the highest pleasure through giving us spiritual strength, and also gives us an even higher pleasure by attracting our hearts with His infinite spiritual strength. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashashriya. There are 6 special excellences that people have that attract others. Beauty, knowledge, fame, wealth, renunciation, and strength. And different kinds of people are very attracted to have particular ones of these qualities, and are very, very much attracted to those who have these qualities. Let us examine strength. There's a city somewhere in the world called Rio, and Olympics are going on there. And people who have literally spent years and years and years of focusing their whole lives on developing particular strengths have gathered there. And literally, billions of people are seeing it every day. Through satellite televisions, through being in stadiums, through news. Why are people paying so much attention? Because they're attracted to see people exhibit various types of skills and strength. Whether one is a swimmer or a gymnast or a runner or a volleyball player. There are different types of strengths that are being exhibited. Here in Chicago, there's a great craze over sports. I believe, if I remember right, you have Chicago Cubs and White Sox and Bears and Bulls and Black Hawks and anything else I don't remember. But the stadiums are filled. People are attracted to strength. But in all of these people, whether you're the strongest and the most skilled in whatever particular athletic field, by the power of time, you lose it. The Olympic gold medalists of the 1930s don't have their medals anymore. They don't have their strength anymore. And they're more or less forgotten. So we can actually appreciate even the strength of this world much deeper when we understand its connection to the source of all strength. Janmadya Sayataha. The absolute truth or God is the source of everything that exists. When Krishna comes to this world, along with Balaram, or his various other incarnations, what is the strength that they reveal? Krishna tells us in Sri Bhagavad Gita that whatever incredible, splendorous, amazing things we see in this world, it's only a temporary spark of God's greatness. We know how people could be mesmerized by someone's beauty. But that beauty is limited, and it's very temporary. But Krishna means all attractive. His beauty is unlimited and forever. And when we see the beauty and the strength of this world as a spark of God's beauty, that's somehow or other within someone else, then we could really appreciate it. And even though for the sake of sport and everything, we may be competitive and everything, we're never discouraged. We're never envious, because we recognize that whatever, and we're never arrogant either. Whatever strength I have is by the grace of God. Whatever strength somebody else has is by the grace of God. And we appreciate the grace of God. And that grace is forever. It doesn't perish with the temporary manifestations. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yovidadati kaman. When we understand this principle, that Krishna is the strength of the strong, the intelligence of the intelligence, the beauty of the beautiful, the abilities in whatever anyone could do. Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatpamam shantim chichati. That he's the proprietor of everything that exists forever. Then we see everything in relation. And whether we see a gymnast, or whether we see a wealthy person, or a beautiful person, or a champion, or whether we see a scholar, we don't just see the external manifestation that's temporarily there. We see, if this person is so attractive with what they're doing, imagine someone who is the source of it all and who has unlimited, infinite beauty and abilities. That is Krishna. And when we understand that we are all subordinate and dependent on God's grace, which is the ultimate strength, then we're liberated. We're liberated from envy. We're liberated from arrogance. We're liberated from the stresses and frustrations of this world, because we find shelter in that grace. When we humble ourselves before the supreme power of God, or Krishna, then we conquer illusion. We conquer suffering. We conquer death. That's the ultimate gold medal. And every single one of us could do it. It's our nature. And as Candramauli Swami Maharaj was telling, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. The Lord comes to this world again and again and again just to awaken that power within all of us. The power to humble ourselves before the supreme power of God's grace. The power to overcome our envious tendencies and our depressions and our despondency by taking pleasure in Krishna's pastimes, in God's super excellent qualities, and seeing little flickering fractions of that wherever there's great things within this world, and then really appreciating. If God could help a person to be able to do this, how wonderful is Krishna? Because without the sun and the air and the rain, and without these bodies and the abilities that comes with these bodies and with these brains, what can we do? What can anyone do? So as far as possible, we can develop whatever God has given us. And patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta prayachchati. And if we utilize those powers with devotion, with compassion, with sincerity, then we find the ultimate liberation, the ultimate happiness. Balaram is one who gives us the greatest happiness by revealing his infinite strength and giving us the strength to ultimately appreciate that. Srila Prabhupada explains that Maya is very strong. Daiviheshu gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamavam prapadyante mayam etadharantite. This material nature, which has these three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, is very difficult to overcome. These illusions, these entrapments, cause us so much arrogance and envy and depression. It's amazing today how many people severely lack self-confidence. And most of the most arrogant, harsh, cruel, abusive people are people who are somehow or other trying to just hide from themselves and hide from others. There's the pain of their insecurity, of a lack of self-confidence. Because this world, it could beat down anybody and everyone in various ways. But that's good if we understand the purpose of why the world has been created this way. Because whatever happiness we can derive from the very limited temporary accomplishments that we could make can never satisfy the soul. The soul is eternal. The soul is full of bliss. The soul is part of God. The soul's inherent true happiness and its highest potential is to love the infinity of God's beauty and grace. His strength, His knowledge, His wealth. When we recognize that, when we humble ourselves before that power of God's grace, we have incredible confidence. But that confidence can only come, true confidence, through a humble heart. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. As long as we are thinking, I am the proprietor, I am the doer, as long as we build the world around our own little tiny ego, then we're disconnected from that current of grace that is right there within our own hearts. But when we humble ourselves before God's grace, when we develop a taste for hearing about Krishna and Balaram and Shri Radha, Gopinath's divine pastimes, then we have true confidence. But it's a different type of confidence than we normally see in this world. Self-confidence based on my abilities doesn't really touch the heart. This confidence in God's love, in God's grace, in God's beauty is a confidence that awakens limitless compassion toward all beings. Confidence that the greatest treasure in all of creation is the opportunity to serve with love. Not just to serve with my love, but to serve as an instrument of God's love. This is beyond the arrogance of sectarianism, the insecurities of various type of rivalries. This is the uniting factor that's within all of us, where we have the power to have confidence, to have satisfaction in every situation of life, because no one can take away from us the opportunity to serve. to remember God, to chant the names of God, to appreciate the glories of God. I've seen people who were very active, very strong, very successful, champions in their own rights, on their deathbeds, paralyzed, listening to the beautiful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram and crying in happiness because they have tapped in to that limitless beauty and strength. And when we make that connection, it's beyond death. It's beyond everything of this world. At the time when Krishna was to appear in this world, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes the Devas, the great controllers of the universe, approached Lord Brahma. And Mother Earth, who's the mother of all living beings of her planet, she took the form of a cow to approach Lord Brahma. Why a cow? Because a cow is a mother. She gives milk, and she's also very much dependent on human compassion. In India, dogs are really, really miserable people because they live in the streets and people throw rocks at them, and they're usually starving and just looking for any type of garbage or anything to eat and fighting over it, and they're skinny and they get diseases and nobody takes care of them. They're just on their own. How many have been to India to see this? And sometimes they travel in packs, and at night, if you're all alone, one barks and then everybody barks, and then they attack you, and they will kill you and eat you. Not because they're bad, but poverty could bring the worst out in people, even dog people. But if a dog has a nice master, then they could really be happy. It's like here in America, I've seen. I was recently in Beverly Hills, California, and people have such incredibly happy dogs. There's a van, a beautiful, very large-sized van that just goes house to house and gives full shampoos and manicures to the house's dogs. And once a week they'll come to your house and they'll take your dog in it and they'll shampoo it, and like a beauty parlor. And they'll comb it and manicure it and put nice things to make their eyes glisten, and the dogs come out and then they eat all these foods. And so that's just nature. If we feel shelter, we're happy. The street dogs have no shelter, so they're very unhappy. And human beings, whether we're villagers or PhDs, whether we are multi-billionaires or we're just simple struggling to make a living, whether we're male or female or whatever race or whatever spiritual path, there's no substantial happiness without feeling shelter. And there's only one thing that gives shelter to the heart, and that's to love and to feel loved. And love is not just an emotional, theoretical concept. Love is real. Love is expressed. Love is appreciated. Love is reciprocated. And when we have that with people in this world, it gives us a sense of happiness like nothing else in this world can give us. But when we understand the origin of that love on the spiritual level, then it gives true happiness to the soul. So Mother Earth took the form of a cow to show her helpless condition, to seek shelter. And they went to the ocean of milk, and they all prayed together to the Supreme Lord to help. And the Lord spoke through Brahma. He gave the message, and Brahma told the others that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to descend to fulfill all of your desires. First, he's going to come as that personality who is the sustainer of all the universes. Or Shesha, Balaram, in the Yadu dynasty. So I think most of you know the story that Vasudeva and Devaki were married, and there was a voice that came from the sky. Kamsa, you are a fool. The 8th child of Devaki will be the cause of your death. Kamsa was her cousin brother. He was trying to do something nice for his sister to show his affection by driving her chariot to her husband's house. He was trying to show what he considered love. But love means ahoitaki apratihata, without selfishness, without arrogance, without being interrupted by circumstances. That's spiritual love. And we're all tested. And on a very extreme level, Kamsa was tested. He was telling Devaki, I love you, look what I'm going to do for you. It was such an honor she was feeling. But as soon as he understood that it was not favorable for himself, he drew his sword and was about to kill her. But somehow or other, Vasudeva, her husband, convinced Kamsa, you can have all the sons, whatever children we have, but don't kill your sister. They were put in prison, and he killed 6 consecutive children that they had. Krishna called for the Yogamaya potency, the spiritual potency of the Lord, the feminine potency of the Lord. And he explained to her that in the womb of Devaki is the support and sustainer of all the universes, Balaram. His eternal mother is Rohini. But these 6 children who were previously in Devaki's womb, historically, the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas describe that in previous lives they were the grandchildren of Hiranyakashipu. And the 6 children represented the anarthas that distract our hearts away from the love and the grace of God. Kama, lust, selfish passion for my own sensory pleasure without consideration of others. Anger, krodha, lobha, greed, envy, arrogance, and illusion. These are considered the 6 enemies. And if we could conquer those enemies within ourselves, that's great. That's a greater satisfaction and a higher accomplishment than conquering the entire world. So those 6 children were there. And Devaki, due to her fear of Kamsa, she took shelter of the Lord. And through that process, the 6 enemies were vanquished. And Balaram entered into the womb of Devaki just to make her heart and womb a very suitable, appropriate, pleasing place for Krishna to come. In Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, there's the cleansing of Gundicha temple, where Balaram, Subhadra, and Jagannath are going to come at the end of the parade called Ratha Yatra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that the Gundicha temple represents our heart. It is our responsibility that we make our heart a clean place for Krishna to reside. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshirjana tishtati. Krishna is in everyone's heart. The Lord is within all of our hearts forever. But unless our hearts are clean, the Lord does not reveal himself to us. And we're disconnected. So in the cleansing of Gundicha temple, there were so many preparations. They were brooming with brooms, collecting dust and straw and sand, and they swept and swept and swept the ceilings, the walls, the floors, everywhere, until they couldn't find a single speck of dust. And then Lord Chaitanya led his 200 devotees into washing it with thousands and thousands of buckets of water until it was sparkling, fresh and clean. Now it's an appropriate place to bring the Lord. And through our sadhana, through our lifestyle, our character, our attitudes, gratitude, and through our compassion for others. This is how we clean our hearts. This is the path of bhakti. Cetodarapana Marajanam Bhavava. That this chanting of the holy names of the Lord, when it is done sincerely, under proper guidance, this chanting has the most powerful effect of cleansing the temple of the heart, so we could actually see God. Srila Prabhupada taught us, don't try to see God. Just try to serve God in such a way that He wants to see you. Because if He's pleased to see you, then He reveals Himself to you. And there's no other way to see God. And we learn this from our spiritual masters. There is the Diksha Guru, the Shiksha Gurus. The spiritual masters are representatives of Balaram. He's the original spiritual master, as Maharaj explained. Because the spiritual master is one who through his or her service teaches us how to serve with a pure heart. Evam parampara prabdham. Through the great line of disciplic succession, the spiritual masters have taught us how to love God and how to serve God with love and how to extend that love to all beings. And God Himself, Krishna Himself, expands Himself as Balaram to serve Himself. So Balaram entered the womb of Devaki just to make it a wonderful place for Krishna to be and to prepare the world to receive Krishna. And Krishna told Yogamaya that you should transfer Balaram from the womb of Devaki to his eternal mother Rohini, who is under the care of Nanda and Yashoda in Gokul. So today is Balaram's appearance day. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the Srimad Bhagavatam how Rohini was a wife of Vasudeva. In those days, great rulers lovingly protected, encouraged several wives at times. So when Devaki and Vasudeva were in prison, Rohini was pregnant with a child in her womb. And Vasudeva told her, go to Gokul. And there his very best friend Nanda Maharaj and the most loving mother in all creation, Yashoda, welcomed her. When she was 7 months pregnant, at midnight, she had a dream. In that dream, she experienced having a miscarriage. She woke up. She was so brokenhearted, so frightened. Could this have actually happened? And it appeared that it did happen. But then from within her heart, Yogamaya spoke to her and said, actually, the child of Devaki is coming into your womb. The original Balaram was in Rohini's womb, and his own expansion from Devaki came and united within the womb of Rohini. And then Krishna entered into the heart. First he entered into the heart of Vasudeva, the father. And when he entered his heart, Vasudeva became illuminated He was so blissful. Even though he was in prison with chains around him, he was in ecstasy because God was revealing himself to the world through him. You see, happiness is not just about material circumstances. We've seen it time and again. You could dream of having something. You could pray to have something. You could work your whole life to have something. And then when you get it, you could be even more miserable than before. It's often like that. If not immediately, in due course of time. Because when you get something, you become attached to it. And the more you're attached to it, the more it hurts when it's gone. And the thrill goes. And sometimes the person or the thing goes. Or eventually our bodies go. That's the dukkhalayam ashashvatam, the nature of this world. But if you find that inner peace, if you find that taste for hearing and chanting about God's glories, God's names, Krishna's beautiful pastimes and teachings, that bliss is transcendental. It is beyond the reach of the material miseries because it touches the soul. So Vasudeva was blissful while living in prison with chains around him, an underground prison as well. And from his mind, Krishna was transferred to the heart of Devaki. Just like that. Srila Prabhupada explains, just like when the full moon rises, the sun casts its rays upon the moon and the moon is illuminated. In the same way, Krishna entered the heart of Devaki and then she became illuminated. Meanwhile, while Devaki had Krishna within her as a mother, Rohini in Gokul Vrindavan gave birth to Balaram on this day. So beautiful. And soon after, Krishna was born. But we'll discuss that subject on Janmashtami next week. When Krishna and Balaram were little children, it was just so beautiful. There was a name-giving ceremony, and Garga Muni told that this Balaram, his name is Shankarshan, which means he has united two families. He's united Nanda Maharaj's family and Yashoda with Vasudeva and Devaki. The Yadus, who are Kshatriyas, and the cowherd community, the farming community of Yashoda and Nanda. And his name is Baladev because he has super excellent, incredible strength. And he's Balaram because he will reveal that strength and give the ultimate pleasure to everyone. Yashoda and Rohini, they just loved their children. They were mothers. They were both mothers for both children. There was practically no difference. How they both loved their own children and each other's children. and Balaram and Krishna, who are the source of everything that exists, played just like ordinary children. Why? They would cry for their mother's milk. When lightning would strike, they would cry and run to their mother's beds and cuddle up to their mothers. Don't make me sleep separate, I'm too afraid. And the mother would be so, okay, I'll protect you from the thunder. And then a monkey, they'd run to their mothers, monkey, okay, I'll protect you, The absolute truth is giving protection to everybody. But he's asking protection from some little ladies. Why? That's the intimacy of love that is revealed in Vrindavan. We read about Sri Balaramji and Krishna. When Krishna was just a couple days old, he vanquished Putana. When he was just 7 years old, he lifted a mountain, a massive mountain with the little finger of his left hand for 7 days and 7 nights. When there was a blazing forest fire, the flames were literally reaching the clouds. It was so huge. It was more disastrous than these fires in California or anywhere else. And everyone was helpless. And little Krishna, he was just a little playful boy. He told everyone, close your eyes. They closed their eyes, and he went, and he swallowed the entire fire. And he didn't even get heartburn or indigestion. We can say, how can a little child eat a fire? How can a little child hold up a mountain? How can a little child reveal to his mother the whole cosmic manifestation within his little tiny mouth? Achintya Shakti. Because the Lord has inconceivable potencies. The source of all planets. The source of all universes. The father and mother of every living being. God is great, beyond the rational capacity of our intelligence. But what's even greater than the power of God and as the creator, maintainer, and destroyers of universes is the greatness of God's capacity to love and be loved. And that's especially revealed in Vrindavan, where Krishna Balaram, they're little children. And they love their mothers as mothers. And they receive their mother's love with such intimacy. You see, when we approach God as the Supreme Father, which is what we should be doing, and the Supreme Mother, usually a child is asking things from mother and father. If we have a materially oriented way of spirituality, we ask for wealth, we ask for strength, we ask for relieving our distress, we ask for some yogic powers, we ask for liberation from suffering. We could ask for so many things. Because a child loves to take. But a parent to the child doesn't expect anything. The parent is only giving and giving and giving. And sometimes the child kicks the parent in the face. Sometimes the child responds to nature where they're not supposed to respond to nature and the mother has to clean up after. I've seen mothers, they're constantly in anxiety over little children. They're just giving, and the child, all they do is take. Yes? That's what I've seen. And when the children grow up, they're supposed to reciprocate. But Yashoda, Rohini, they're just giving. They don't want anything except to give satisfaction to their children. But their children happen to be God. The absolute truth, the cause of all causes. So they're getting infinite, ecstatic emotions by doing that, because they're not only their eternal liberated soul's love is pouring out in their loving service to the Lord, and hearing about him and speaking about him and chanting about him and making him happy and protecting him. But God's infinite love is pouring to them in reciprocation. And before they even learned how to walk, they would be crawling. And sometimes they would grab onto the tail of a little calf, and the calf would get really afraid and jump up and start running, and they would hold on. And the calves would drag them through cow dung and through earth and they'd get all full of the dust of Braj Bhumi. And the gopis would just watch and cry in happiness. Because you see, in spiritual love, none of the gopis are thinking, why Yashoda has Krishna and Rohini has Balaram? Why not me? That mentality does not exist in a truly spiritual heart. Spiritual life is about deeply appreciating the blessings that others are receiving. And we're as happy with that, if not happier, than if we're receiving those blessings ourselves. You see, when you appreciate someone else's good fortune, you get even more good fortune that they have. That's often the case. To appreciate without envy. If someone is doing really good, if someone is getting recognition, if we think, how wonderful, let me do the best I can, but how wonderful that they are getting that recognition and appreciation. Krishna's in them. Krishna's manifesting wonderful things through them, and they're being blessed. They're being honored. So everyone is in Vrindavan was in the highest ecstatic state of samadhi, or spiritual bliss, because they were so happy for Nanda and Yashoda and Rohini. And knowing that every time Balaram would look at them, he would completely conquer their hearts. And every time Krishna would smile at them, he would totally give them himself. So how to attain that state of consciousness? We require spiritual strength to overcome the temptations and the fears of this world through chanting God's names, through associating with people who are really striving for that strength, who have that strength, by making connection. And on this day, as His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj explained to us, it's a very blessed day because our prayers are especially reciprocated on these holy days, where we pray for the spiritual strength to truly fall in love with Krishna, to fall in love with topics of hearing about Krishna, to fall in love with the sweetness of the limitless grace that are within the names of Krishna, to really appreciate with gratitude all those who are trying to help us, all those who are on the path of devotion. It's not easy, because passions and anger and greed and envy and all these other unwanted things are difficult to overcome. But if we're just sincere and humble ourselves to that higher power of grace, by that grace, it is guaranteed we will overcome all obstacles. Thank you very much. Could I sing for a few minutes?
Maharaj, may I make an announcement if you don't mind?
Please make so many announcements.
Just one is enough. Before we go into kirtan, because it's such an auspicious festival, not only because Lord Balaram's appearance day, but because wonderful saintly persons are here and all the devotees are here, let's all loudly say Haribol and thank both the Maharajas for their wonderful association tonight. Haribol! So Saturday, His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj will be doing a seminar, Saturday and Sunday. It's a 3-part seminar called Tree of Life. And Maharaj told me that he's been doing this in a few places, and the devotees are feeling very benefited and happy just taking part in that seminar, because it talks about how to strengthen our spiritual life and spiritual practices while at the same time taking care of our physical and emotional needs. Of course, I'm not doing justice the way I'm saying it, but it's a very, very, very wonderful seminar called Tree of Life. So please write down the timings, and I would highly recommend you come and bring other friends and devotees. This is Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We'll serve lunch here. So 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then again on Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then you can join the Sunday feast. It will be on the second floor here. So it's a nice, more intimate space, and we can focus, and Maharaj can help us through how to nourish the tree of our life. So please make it possible for you to come. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, dear Nityananda Prabhu and Subal Prabhu, for your gracious, kind hospitality and amazing service here in Chicago. Chicago is called the Windy City. Have you heard that? Hanuman is son of the wind god, Vayu. So it's a special place to get Hanuman's mercy here. Everyone, please stand up. As I'm chanting, welcome the holy name with folded hands. As you respond, please raise your arms very high in a spirit of seeking shelter. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Everybody, please. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Everybody together. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Louder, please. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Together, please. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very loudly, please, with our whole hearts, let us call out, let us cry out for the shelter of Shri Shri Kishore Kishori. Please raise your arms very high. Together, very loudly, let us chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, please. Let us pray for the strength to live our lives for the pleasure of our beloved Lord. Let this prayer of our hearts be offered to Sri Balaram Ji. On this holy day. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you very much.
Radhanath